Hello, my name is Kathy Herzog. I have a Bachelor of Arts degree from Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania. I'm the board president of Voices for Independence, a center for independent living in western Pennsylvania. It's hard to believe that 31 years ago, I had the honor of sitting on the White House lawn as President George H.W. Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, into law on July 26, 1990. The ADA is the disability community's civil rights legislation intended to ensure equal access and opportunities to participate in all aspects of society. The ADA extends protections to people with or thought of as having disabilities. The ADA prohibits discrimination in employment, public accommodations, transportation, telecommunications, and state and local government programs and services, including both physical as well as programmatic access. Reasonable accommodations such as modifying job duties, policies or practices, physical modifications, or use of auxiliary aids and services must be provided when such instances will not impose an undue hardship or unaffordable expense on the employer, program, or service. Further, service animals must also be permitted in most cases. Lastly, the ADA prohibits any form of retaliation or coercion, including threats, intimidation, or other interference with a person's access or opportunity to participate. Mr. Carl Odner, another advocate, who was seated beside me in his powered wheelchair, turned to me and said something along the lines of, "Good luck, kid. Your battle has just begun. I won't live long enough to see the dream become reality. Hopefully you will." Since its passage, many groups, including the courts, have attempted to weaken the protective language of the law. In order to restore the original intent of the law, President George W. Bush signed the ADA Amendments Act into law on September 25, 2008, thus countering the Supreme Court's ever-narrowing interpretation of disability by expanding who would qualify as a person with a disability under the law, granting more Americans further protections from discrimination. Even though a few governmental departments have the responsibility to issue guidance and regulations and have some limited enforcement abilities, when requests for compliance fail, the disability community is often forced to bring lawsuits. Decisions regarding accessibility, undue hardships, and/or reasonable accommodations are often made on a case-by-case basis. Contrary to what was hoped would be a positive outcome of the law, employment rates are still significantly low. This is due in part to our government's failure to adjust income limits and ease regulations, which could result in the loss or significant decrease of life-sustaining benefits and services, such as health care, housing subsidies, food assistance, and possibly personal assistance services, should a person with a disability become gainfully employed. Although we're much more likely today to have greater access to buildings, programs and services, travel and employment opportunities, use of video chat relay, sign language interpreters, or captioning for persons who are deaf or hard of hearing, and so on, we are still a long way from being as accessible, welcoming, and willing to provide the necessary access and accommodations, which I expected would be commonplace by now. Carl was right. There is still much more that our country can and should do to be more inclusive of individuals with all types of disabilities through the removal of physical, legal, and attitudinal barriers to life, liberty, and justice for all. Thank you.